All right, let's dive right in. No topics, no interruptions, just one long, continuous podcast style monologue at C1 level about the power of speech, flowing naturally like you're listening to a real motivational speaker. You know, when we talk about power in life, people usually imagine big things, right? Governments, armies, money, technology, and yes, all of that is powerful, no doubt. But if you really pay attention, the greatest power available to every single one of us is much simpler, and it's something we carry with us every single day. It's the power of speech, the ability to open your mouth and turn thoughts into words, to take what's invisible in your mind and make it real in the world. And this, if you think about it, is how human beings have always moved forward. No invention, no revolution, no relationship, no company, no community was ever built without words. Words are the starting point, the invisible seeds that grow into action. That's why speech is not just communication, it's creation. Every time you speak, you're not just describing reality, you're shaping it. If you look back at history, you'll see that the greatest leaders were never just great planners or warriors. They were great speakers. They had the ability to take complex ideas and transform them into simple, emotional, powerful sentences that reach straight into people's hearts. They could inspire thousands to believe in something bigger than themselves, to face fear, to fight for freedom, to change the world. But this power is not limited to presidents, generals, or famous figures. It's in all of us. Because speech is influence, and every time you talk, you're influencing. Maybe you're influencing one person, maybe 10, maybe a room full of colleagues, or maybe just yourself. But the principle is always the same. Speech moves people. And here's the part we often forget. It's not only what you say, but how you say it. Two people can say the exact same words, and the impact will be completely different. Why? Because delivery matters. Tone, pace, pauses, rhythm, confidence, eye contact. Think of a simple phrase like, "We can do this." If you whisper it without energy, it dies in the air. But if you say it with fire, with strength, with a pause before the "this," people suddenly believe it. That's the magic of speech. The same words can either inspire a team to climb mountains or disappear into silence. And that's why mastering speech is so much more than memorizing vocabulary or perfect grammar. It's about presence. It's about energy. It's about intention. Now, the funny thing is that even though we all know words are powerful, most people use them carelessly, almost unconsciously. They complain without realizing that complaints are programming their minds. They say things like, "I can't," "It's impossible," "I'll never succeed." And every time they say that, they're reinforcing failure in their own brain. On the other hand, when you train yourself to use empowering language, when you say, "I'm learning, I'm improving, I'll find a way," suddenly your reality shifts because your words are planting seeds of progress. That's why speech is not just about convincing others, it's about convincing yourself. The inner dialogue you repeat every day is one of the most powerful forces in your life. If you change the way you speak to yourself, you change the way you act. And when it comes to speaking with others, the same rule applies. Every time you open your mouth, you're either building a bridge or burning one. You're either lifting people up or pulling them down. You're either inspiring trust or planting doubt. People will forget many details about you, but they never forget the way you made them feel with your words. That's why in leadership, in business, in relationships, in family, in friendships, the power of speech is everything. It's not about complicated speeches, it's about authenticity. Sometimes one honest sentence delivered at the right moment has more impact than an hour of technical explanations, because people connect to feelings, to sincerity, to stories. So how do you get better at this? First, you listen. Powerful speakers are powerful listeners. They don't just throw words into the air, they absorb, they pay attention, they understand what matters to the other person, and then they choose words that connect. Second, they slow down. They don't rush through their ideas like they're checking items on a list. They use pauses, they let words breathe, they give people time to feel the message. Third, they believe in what they're saying, because if you don't believe in your own words, no one else will. People can feel authenticity. They know when you're being real, and they know when you're faking it. And maybe you're thinking, "But I'm not a natural speaker." The truth is, nobody is born with this. It's a skill, And like any skill, it grows with practice. You don't need to give perfect speeches. You just need to start paying attention to the language you use every day. Instead of saying, I don't have time, try saying, it's not my priority right now. See how different that feels? Instead of, this is too hard, try, this is challenging, but I can handle it. Words are not neutral. They carry energy. They carry belief. They carry identity. When you speak differently, you live differently. At the end of the day, the power of speech is the power of choice. You choose words that can break or words that can build. You choose words that can hurt or words that can heal. And if you take that power seriously, you realize that every conversation is an opportunity, every sentence is a tool, and every word is a brick in the house you're building for your future. Speech is not just communication, it's creation, it's leadership, it's influence. And when you understand that, you will never speak carelessly again. So use your words with intention, with courage, with passion, because the world is always listening, and your words can truly make a difference.